Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me? This microphone you practically have to swallow to make sure you're getting the right volume. Well, I had drafted a 15-page speech here, but looking at this audience, I think I'm just going to chuck it and speak rather briefly from the heart. But first, let me say a word about the organization that I now represent, the USA-ROC Economic Council. We were founded 19 years ago in Chicago by David Kennedy, who had been Secretary of the Treasury for 2 years under President Nixon and then Ambassador to NATO. We have a very powerful counterpart organization in Taiwan where the initials are simply reversed, the ROC USA Economic Council. And the driving force behind that was Y.S. Sun, who had been Minister of Economic Affairs and later became Premier. He's still alive, but he's had a stroke and he's in a wheelchair. We put on a joint conference every year. It's probably the biggest thing we do outside of newsletters and advice to American companies on how to do business with Taiwan. And because it is a joint affair, we have this conference 1 year in the United States and 1 year the next year in Taiwan. And in the United States, we move it around the country so that the Chinese who come from Taiwan, who number about 300, and about 500 Americans, will see a different part of the United States. So years ago, we did have it in San Francisco. We haven't had it in California since. But I wanted to announce tonight that not quite 2 years from now, in December '97, we're holding it in San Diego. So please put it on your calendars now. We hope you'll all be there. This year, which is our 20th anniversary, it will be in Taipei, and because it is the 20th anniversary, it's going to be a very big event. We hope some of you will come across the Pacific to be part of it. President Lee spoke to our gathering, it was in Taipei last year, and we assume he'll do so again this year. Well, Taiwan. Taiwan's reputation as an economic miracle is well known by certainly everybody in the United States and most people in the world. And its reputation as one of the 4 tigers of Asia. But few people realize the spectacular nature of some of the statistics that go into making up that accomplishment. Taiwan has the world's second largest foreign exchange reserves, almost $100 billion at the moment. And over half of this is not well known. Over half of this is invested in US dollar instruments. If your financial leaders on Taiwan suddenly decided to move that money out of the United States, it would probably plunge this country into a depression. Our trade now totals over $45 billion this past year. Taiwan is our 6th largest trading partner. This is an extraordinary accomplishment. Our first trading partner is, of course, Canada, and then Japan. 3rd is Mexico. 4th is Germany. 5th is England, and 6th is Taiwan. Ahead of France, ahead of Korea, ahead of many other formidable nations in the world with reputations as trade. Taiwan buys twice as much from the United States, more than twice as much, as does mainland China. I know what the figures were for 1995, but in 1994, the mainland brought about $8 billion worth of goods from the United States. Taiwan brought $17 billion. China, which has 55 times as many people and 270 times the geographical area of Taiwan. Taiwan is the world's 13th largest trading economy and the world's 12th largest exporter. It is the largest or second largest foreign investor in Vietnam, Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, and the Philippines, and the second or third largest, second now in mainland China, only behind Hong Kong, which is probably going to surpass in the next couple of years. Taiwan's economy now ranks 19th or 20th in the world, and its per capita income has grown faster in the past few years than I think any other nation. Has now reached $12,000. An impressive accomplishment for 21 million people who occupy an area only the size of 1.5 times the size of the state of Maryland. Taiwan has a formidable national development plan, originally to be some $300 billion. I think it's been scaled back a little bit because of budget cuts and debates in the legislature. Now it looks like about $235 billion, but it is still designated by the Department of Commerce of the United States as the largest business opportunity in the world for infrastructure projects, with something like $100 billion going to be spent in the transportation area, $40 billion in energy, and $25 billion or so in the environmental area. That's combining both what the government will do and what private companies will have to do to meet government specifications, and another $16 billion in telecommunications. The economy there is changing. Over the past 8 years, manufacturing has more than tripled. Retail figures have almost quadrupled. Transportation and telecommunications also. Finance, real estate, insurance, and other services have increased almost 5-fold. So Taiwan is making a transition to a high-tech economy, as most of the labor-intensive industries, as you all know very well here, have moved offshore, mostly to mainland China, but also to other parts of Southeast Asia. Taiwan's international trade, although the United States is still the largest trading partner in total, Japan sells more to Taiwan than we do. That's something we're trying to remedy, and I hope everybody in this room will try to help the United States do that. But in the meantime, in order to diversify its trade so that it's not so dependent on the United States, Taiwan has had a very forceful program to expand the markets and relationships in Southeast Asia and in Europe, which has been quite successful, also in Latin America and in Africa. The most dramatic change in the last 3 years has been the rise of Taiwan's trade with mainland China and with Southeast Asia. Taiwan, as you know, has been negotiating to get into the GATT, which is now being renamed the World Trade Organization, and is very close to accomplishing, making the accommodations necessary for that. There's still 3 or 4 things that need to be done. And of course, as I think you all know quite well, there's a political issue there. It's kind of hung up because most countries probably wouldn't vote to have Taiwan go in ahead of the People's Republic of China for fear of the reaction on their own relations with China. So it may be that even though Taiwan, my own feeling is that this is ridiculous, Taiwan should get in when it's ready, but I think the political reality is that that's probably not going to happen, and they may have to wait for China to be ready, and that still looks like it's going to be a little while. One of the major trends going on in Taiwan in the business area is privatization. The government has some 39 state enterprises and a host of other government-run organizations, numbering about 80, that are being privatized. Some of the efforts have been a little difficult because the investors haven't bought up the stock when it's been offered. But the program is going forward, and we expect that to be one of the factors that's going to inject some energy into the economy. Taiwan has a program, as you all know, to establish itself as a regional hub for business in Asia. I think that your leaders saw an opportunity there as Hong Kong is about to be integrated, and decided that Taiwan is ideally located from a geographic point of view halfway between Northeast Asia, Japan and Korea in the north and northern China, and Hong Kong and Southeast Asia in the south, and just off the coast of China. And it's true. And this program is aimed primarily at several sectors: banking and finance, telecommunications, transportation, the media area. And I think that the prospects for success tend to vary a little bit with each area. My own feeling is that transportation, Taiwan is uniquely situated to become a center for transportation. Kaohsiung is already, I think, the world's 3rd largest harbor. And Chiang Kai-shek could be a fantastic center for air transportation, both for travelers coming from Taiwan going to the mainland, but also from travelers from the United States and other places that will go through Taiwan to the mainland when the day of direct transportation comes. And as you know, your airlines there have been gearing up for that enterprise, and the start on December 8th of direct flights from Taipei to Macau on the airlines, at least in the Air Macau planes. They simply change the flight number and go on into China and come back out. So this is really a remarkable breakthrough in this area, and probably the first major step towards direct air travel. But basically, Taiwan has it now. Direct travel between Taipei